The chamber was designed to intimidate. Everything about it screamed dominance. The ceiling stretched so high it disappeared into artificial darkness. Massive pillars carved from obsidian lined the hall, each etched with the names of conquered civilizations. Thousands of names, thousands of victories. At the center stood the emissary platform, and on it, Ambassador Threx. He was tall, even for his species. His exoskeleton shimmered like polished metal, and the ceremonial blades on his arms reflected the dim red lighting of the hall. Behind him stood 12 honor guards, each one motionless, each one lethal. Threx adjusted the golden insignia on his chest. 312 conquests. Not the highest in the Dominion, but enough to earn respect, enough to inspire fear. "Are they ready?" he asked. His assistant clicked her mandible softly. "Yes, Ambassador. The humans are waiting in Contact Bay 3. Threx nodded slowly. Humans. A young species, barely 400 years in space. Primitive, unrefined, weak. They controlled only 62 star systems. No major military presence, no expansion wars, no recorded planetary annihilations. A peaceful species, which meant an easy conquest. The system. The Dominion had perfected first contact. It never failed. Step 1, arrive with overwhelming presence. Step 2, deliver the ultimatum. Step 3, accept surrender. Repeat. For over 9,000 years, for over 600 species, it always worked, because fear always worked. Contact Bay 3. The doors opened with a deep mechanical hiss. Threx stepped forward. His guards followed in perfect formation, weapons glowing, armor gleaming, presence overwhelming. And then he stopped. The humans were not what he expected. There were only 8 of them. No armor, no visible weapons, no defensive positions. They stood casually near a small shuttle, drinking from containers, talking among themselves. One of them, a young woman with short black hair, looked up. She smiled and waved. "Hey, you must be the Dominion guys." Threx didn't respond immediately. He simply stared. This was wrong. Where was the fear? Where was the tension? Where was the submission? The speech. He stepped forward anyway. Protocol must be followed. He raised his arms. His voice echoed through the chamber. "I am Ambassador Threx of the Xal'Nari Dominion." His guards slammed their weapons into the ground in unison, a thunderous sound. "We are the rulers of 600 civilizations." Pause. "We have existed for 9,000 years." Pause. "We do not negotiate." Long pause. "You will surrender your systems, your resources, and your autonomy." His voice dropped lower. "Or you will be erased." Silence filled the bay. This was the moment, the breaking point, the moment every species cracked. He waited, and waited, and waited. The laughter. A sound broke the silence, a small sound, sharp, unexpected. One of the humans was laughing. A man this time, older, gray-beard. He tried to suppress it, failed. Another human joined, then another. Within seconds, all of them were laughing. Not nervous laughter, not scared laughter, genuine laughter. One of them actually leaned against the wall, wiping tears from his eyes. "I'm sorry," she said, trying to breathe. "I'm really sorry." She looked at Threx again. "You guys are... wow!" She laughed again. "You're like space villains from old movies." Confusion. Threx didn't move, didn't blink, didn't understand. "Explain," he said coldly. The humans tried to compose themselves. The older man stepped forward. "Look, we thought this was a simulation." "A what?" "A reenactment, like historical cosplay?" Another human added. "The lighting, the speech, the whole 'we are eternal' thing." He shrugged. "It's kinda cute." Cute. That word again. Threx felt something unfamiliar. Not fear, not anger. Something worse. Disrespect. The warning begins. The woman stepped forward. She extended her hand. "Captain Elena Voss, United Earth Diplomatic Corps." Threx didn't take it. "What is wrong with your species?" he demanded. Elena tilted her head slightly. "What's wrong with yours?" Silence. Then she sighed. "All right, let's reset this." She gestured casually. "You came here expecting us to surrender, right?" "Yes." "And this worked before?" "Every time." "How many species did you fight?" Threx hesitated. "Approximately 70. "And the rest?" "They submitted." Elena nodded slowly. "Okay." She exchanged a look with her team, then looked back at him. "Yeah, that explains a lot." The shift. Her tone changed. The humor faded. Not completely, but enough. "You should leave," she said quietly. Threx's eyes narrowed. "Is that a refusal?" "No," Elena said. "It's advice." The first crack. Threx stepped closer. "You have no military fleet. You have minimal defenses. You are insignificant." Elena didn't react. Instead, she took a sip from her container. "Do you know why our military is small?" "Because you are weak." She shook her head. "No." She looked him directly in the eyes. "Because we don't need it." The unsettling truth. Threx let out a low clicking sound. "A species without war cannot survive." Elena smiled faintly. "That's where you are wrong." She paused, then added, "We survived war."
The air in Contact Bay 3 had changed. The laughter was gone. The humans stood differently now. Not relaxed, not careless. Still calm, but focused. Ambassador Threx noticed it immediately. Every instinct he had, honed across hundreds of conquests, began whispering something uncomfortable. These were not prey, not in the way he understood prey. The question that mattered. "You survived war," Threx repeated slowly. Humanity nodded. "Yeah." "How many wars?" he asked. The humans exchanged glances, not amused this time, not mocking, measured. The older man, the one with the gray beard, stepped forward again. "All of them." Threx's eyes narrowed. "That is not an answer." "It is for us," the man replied. "A different kind of history." Elena sighed lightly. "Let me put it in a way you'll understand." She walked past him casually, past the guards. None of them stopped her. That alone was strange. "Your empire," she said, "has been around for 9,000 years. Yes? How many of those years were spent at war?" Threx answered immediately. "Roughly 1,000, spread across multiple campaigns." Elena nodded. "Okay." She turned back toward him. "Humanity?" She paused. 10,000 years. Silence. "Of war," she added. The first doubt. One of Threx's guards shifted slightly. A tiny movement, but noticeable. Threx ignored it. "You exaggerate," he said. Elena shook her head. "No." The older man tapped something on his wrist. A holographic display flickered into existence. Images, data, timelines, battlefields, cities burning, explosions, numbers, so many numbers, casualty counts that climbed higher and higher and higher. Threx stared. "Impossible," he whispered. 1.4 billion, the man said quietly. "Documented deaths, human against human." The chamber felt colder. "That is not including unrecorded history," Elena added, "or indirect casualties." Threx looked at the display again, then back at them. "You did this to yourselves?" No one answered immediately. Finally, yes. The part they never forgot. Elena stepped closer. Her voice dropped. "We weren't born peaceful." She tapped the hologram. "We learned peace." Another image appeared. A flash. A city, erased. A mushroom-shaped cloud rising into the sky. Threx recoiled slightly. "What weapon is that?" "Nuclear," Elena said. "We built it before we left our planet." "You used it?" A pause. "Yes." "The thing that terrified them. They had enough to destroy their entire world," the gray-haired man added, multiple times. Threx felt something unfamiliar tighten inside him. "You would have died as well." "Yes." "And you still built them?" "Yes." "Why?" Elena held his gaze. "Because we were afraid of each other." The silence that followed. No one spoke for several seconds. Even the guards were still now, completely still. The kind of stillness that wasn't discipline, but tension. The misunderstanding. Threx straightened again, trying to regain control. "Then you destroyed yourselves." "No," Elena said. "We stopped." "How?" "We got scared enough." The core of it. She dismissed the hologram. The images vanished, but they didn't leave. Not really. "They don't understand yet," one of the humans said quietly. Elena nodded. "No, they don't." She turned back to Threx. "You think strength is conquering others. That is strength." "No," she said. "That's the easy version. The hard version." She stepped closer, close enough that Threx could see the small details in her eyes. "No fear. None. Real strength," she said quietly, "is having the ability to destroy everything. To choose not to." The warning returns. "You should leave," she repeated. This time, there was no humor in it. Threx pushed back. "You expect us to believe this," Threx demanded. "You expect us to retreat because of stories?" Elena shrugged slightly. "No, I expect you not to." That answer made his chest tighten again. "Then why tell us?" The gray-haired man answered this time. "Because when this goes wrong, we want to know we tried." Threx stared at them, at all of them. 8 humans, no weapons, no armor, no fear. And somehow, that was more unsettling than any army. "You will be given 1 cycle," he said finally, "to surrender." Elena nodded. "Yeah, I figured." As Threx turned to leave, Elena spoke one more time, not loudly, not dramatically, but it echoed anyway. "When you come back," he stopped. "Bring everything." The thing he couldn't shake. Threx didn't turn around, didn't respond. He walked out of Contact Bay 3. His guards followed, the doors sealed behind him. But as he walked back toward his ship, something followed him. Not a sound, not a presence, a thought, a question, one that had never existed before in all his years of conquest.
Ambassador Thrax had stood before the Dominion High Council many times before, but never like this. Never uncertain. The council chamber. The chamber of the Xal'Nari Dominion was carved into the heart of a dying star. Energy pulsed through the walls like veins of molten light. 12 elevated thrones circled the chamber, each occupied by a high counselor. Ancient, powerful, unquestioned. At the center stood Thrax, alone. "Explain," commanded High Sovereign Cale Vorn. His voice wasn't loud. It didn't need to be. It carried weight of thousands of years of absolute authority. "You returned without submission," another counselor added. "This has never happened." Thrax lowered his head slightly. "The humans did not respond as expected." The word he hated. "How did they respond?" Cale Vorn asked. He hesitated. For the first time in his career, he hesitated. "They laughed." Silence. The chamber went completely still. No movement, no sound. Even the energy in the walls seemed to dim. "They, what?" one counselor hissed. "They laughed," Thrax repeated. "They found our approach amusing." A low, dangerous murmur spread across the chamber. "Insult to the Dominion. This is unacceptable. They mock us? A primitive species dares—" Cale Vorn raised one clawed hand. Silence returned instantly. Thrax tries to warn them. "There is more," Thrax said, his voice steadier now, but heavier. "They claim to have spent 10,000 years at war with themselves." A pause. "They showed evidence." Another pause. "They warned us to leave." The council's reaction. For a moment, nothing. Then, laughter. Not human laughter. Cold, sharp, mocking. They attempt deception. Primitive psychological tactics. They fear us and hide it behind arrogance. Cale Vorn leaned forward. "Did you believe them?" The truth he didn't want to say. Thrax didn't answer immediately. That alone was enough to shift the room. "I don't know," he admitted. That word echoed louder than anything else he had said. Unacceptable doubt. "You don't know?" a counselor snapped. "You have led 312 successful submissions. And now you hesitate because of a few images and words?" Thrax clenched his fists. It was not just words. There was no fear. That made the chamber pause again. The thing that mattered. "No fear?" Cale Vorn repeated. "Yes." They stood unarmed. No defenses. No fleet presence. And still, he hesitated again. They were not afraid. The fatal assumption. Cale Vorn leaned back slowly. "Then they are fools." A ripple of agreement followed. Or broken. Or desperate. Or bluffing. The decision. "It does not matter," Cale Vorn declared. "The outcome will be the same." He raised his hand. "Deploy an intimidation fleet." Thrax's head snapped up. "My sovereign." "You are dismissed, Ambassador." The words cut through him. Final.
absolute. 3 days later, the void above Earth tore open. 1 ship, then 10, then 50, then 300 Dominion warships emerged from hyperspace. They formed a perfect sphere around the planet. Black hulls, red energy cores, weapons charged, ready. Admiral Xerath. At the center of the formation stood the flagship Dominion's Will. Admiral Xerath watched the blue planet below. It looked fragile, peaceful, unprepared. "Open a channel," he ordered. The message. Across Earth, every screen, every signal, every frequency was overridden. Xerath's voice filled the planet. "Humans of Earth, you are surrounded. You will surrender your world, your systems, and your species to the Xal'Nari Dominion. You have 1 planetary rotation. Refuse, and you will be erased." The transmission ended. The expectation. Xerath leaned back slightly. "Begin scanning for panic responses." "Yes, Admiral." He had seen this before, countless times. The same pattern. Confusion, fear, chaos, collapse, surrender. What actually happened? "Admiral," the communications officer said slowly, "you need to see this." Xerath frowned. "Report." "They're broadcasting responses." "Already?" "Yes, Admiral." "Display." The first video. A human appeared on screen, young, smiling, with music behind him. "Yo guys, aliens just told us to surrender." Cut. Another video. Someone added dramatic music to Xerath's speech. Another. They made his voice higher, squeaky. Another. They added subtitles that said, "I will steal your Wi-Fi." Confusion turns into something else. Xerath stared. "What is this?" "Human media, Admiral. They are editing your message." "For what purpose?" The officer hesitated. "Entertainment." It gets worse. More videos flooded in, millions. A human comedian stood on a stage. "So aliens showed up today?" he said. 300 ships? Big scary speech." Pause. "That's cute." Audience laughter. "I've seen delivery companies with better logistics." The thing he didn't understand. They are not organizing defenses. They are not mobilizing fleets. They are, he paused, making jokes. The shift. Xerath felt it then. That same feeling Thrax had described. That quiet, creeping unease. "They should be afraid," he said. "Yes, Admiral. They are not behaving correctly." The message from Earth. "Incoming transmission," the officer said. Marked official. "Put it through." The man who wasn't laughing. The screen changed. Another older human appeared. White hair, hard eyes, uniform covered in insignia. "I am General Marcus Hale, United Earth Defense Command." No smile. No humor. No fear. The first real warning. "I understand you're waiting for our surrender," Hale said. "Yes," Xerath replied. "Have you come to accept terms?" "No." A pause. "I've come to give you a chance to leave."
The screen flickered softly. General Marcus Hale didn't move, didn't blink, didn't react to the fleet surrounding his planet. Behind him, there were no alarms, no chaos, no visible panic, just a quiet command room, orderly, controlled. That alone unsettled Admiral Xerath more than anything else so far. The offer. "I've come to give you a chance to leave," Hale repeated. Xerath let out a low, dismissive sound. "You are in no position to make demands." "Correct," Hale said calmly. "I'm not making a demand." A pause. "I'm making a recommendation." The first crack in confidence. Xerath narrowed his eyes. "You have fewer than 100 active military vessels in this system. We have 300. You are completely outmatched." Hale nodded slightly. "Yeah." That wasn't the response Xerath expected. The question that shifted everything. "Let me ask you something," Hale said. "How many wars has your species fought?" Xerath didn't hesitate. "Hundreds. And how many of those were against equal opponents?" Silence. "Define equal." Hale gave a faint, humorless smile. "Exactly. The difference. You conquer weaker species. You overwhelm them. You intimidate them. That's not war." Xerath's voice hardened. "It is victory." "No," said Hale quietly. "It's practice." The unease grows. Something about the way he said that, not arrogant, not emotional, just factual, like stating gravity existed. Xerath felt that unease deepen. The truth about humanity. "You scanned our military," Hale continued. "You saw small numbers, minimal fleet presence, low military expenditure. Yes. And you thought that meant we were weak. Yes." Hale leaned forward slightly. "That's your mistake." The line that hit hard. "Our military is small," Hale said, "because it's not our primary strength." The reality they didn't see. "What is your primary strength?" Xerath asked. Hale didn't answer immediately. Instead, he tapped something off-screen. Behind him, a display lit up. Numbers, production charts, industrial output, resource flow. "You see a weak military. We see an economy that builds worlds." The scale. "We have shipyards in every system, factories on every colony, automated production lines that never stop. We build cities in weeks. We terraform planets in decades." He paused. "If we decide to build warships, we don't build hundreds." The drop. "We don't build thousands." Silence. No one on Xerath's bridge spoke, not even the sensors team. The final warning. Hale leaned back again. "You're looking at what we are during peace. You should be asking what we become during war." Xerath pushes back. "You are trying to intimidate me," Xerath said. "No," Hale replied. "I'm trying to prevent you from making a mistake you can't undo." The part that mattered most. "We haven't fought a real war in over 200 years. We've spent that time building, growing, becoming something else." A pause. Then, "We hoped we had changed." The line that shifted everything. Hale's voice dropped. "But if you push this, we're going to find out we haven't." The human fear. And for the first time, there it was. Not fear of the Dominion, not fear of death. Something else, something deeper. "We're not afraid of you," Hale said quietly. "We're afraid of what happens to us if we fight you." The decision point. Xerath clenched his claws. "You have one rotation. If you do not surrender, we won't." Hale interrupted. "No hesitation, no discussion, just certainty." The final moment. Hale looked directly into the camera, then listened carefully. Every word landed heavier than the last. "If you fire on this planet, we will respond." A pause. "And once we start, we won't stop until there's nothing left of your empire." The thing he couldn't shake.
Xerath stared at him, searching for something. Fear, doubt, bluff, anything. There was nothing. The last word. Hale exhaled slowly. "We really hope you leave." The transmission ended. The silence on the bridge. No one spoke. The blue planet rotated below, peaceful, unbothered, alive. "They're bluffing," one officer said quietly. Xerath didn't answer, because for the first time, he wasn't sure. The order. After a long pause, he spoke. "Prepare bombardment targeting solutions." "Yes, Admiral." "Charge weapons." "Yes, Admiral." As the weapons powered up, as the fleet aligned, as destruction became inevitable, a thought crossed his mind, unwanted, persistent, impossible to ignore.
The first shot. Admiral Xerath didn't wait the full rotation. He told himself it was strategy, decisiveness, dominance. In truth, it was impatience. Fire. 300 Dominion warships unleashed their weapons at once. Beams of red energy lanced toward Earth's orbital defenses. Satellites vanished. Defense platforms shattered. Fragments burned in the upper atmosphere like falling stars. The response. There wasn't one. No counterattack. No fleet mobilization. No retaliation. "Continue bombardment," Xerath ordered. The second wave. This time, targets shifted. Military installations, shipyards, communication arrays, precision strikes, clean, efficient, dominant. Still, nothing. The confusion returns. "Admiral," the sensor officer said slowly, "there are no active countermeasures, no defensive fleet response, no launch signatures." Xerath frowned. That's not possible. The third wave never happened. Before the next command could be given, a signal cut through every Dominion channel. Not forced, not hacked, accepted, authorized. The message from Earth. General Marcus Hale appeared again. Same room, same posture, same calm. But now, something was different. Behind him, the lights were dimmer. The screens were active. People were moving, fast, focused. "It's done," Hale said. The word that changed everything. "You attacked, so now..." A pause. Humanity held its breath. "We respond." The switch. Across human space, something woke up. Not suddenly, not violently, efficiently. Factories changed output. Civilian production halted. Assembly lines reconfigured. Car manufacturers began producing armored vehicles. Aerospace companies shifted to interceptor craft. Mining operations increased extraction by 400%. And shipyards. The flood. "Admiral," the sensor officer whispered, "I'm detecting mass construction signals." "How many?" Xerath demanded. A pause. "It's thousands." The impossible scale. Within hours, frames of warships began forming in orbit across multiple systems. Automated drones welded hulls at impossible speeds. Modular components snapped into place like machines assembling themselves. Within one day, the first wave launched. The number that broke them. "Confirmed counts," the officer said, voice shaking. "New human warships entering active deployment." A pause. 1,000. Silence. "That's not possible," someone whispered. The truth they missed. Hale's voice echoed again over the open channel. "You saw our military," he said. "You didn't see our potential." The next wave. Day 3,
5,000 ships. Day 7, 12,000 ships. Day 14, over 30,000 active war vessels. And they weren't slowing down. The shift in the void. Dominion fleets began reporting contact. Not large-scale engagements, not yet. Ambushes. Small human fleets appearing out of nowhere, striking, disappearing, hitting supply lines, communication hubs, fuel depots. Outpost 7 has gone dark. Fleet Wing Delta is unresponsive. Supply chain disrupted across Sector 12. Xerath stared at the reports. They're not engaging directly, he muttered. The realization. They're dismantling us, the tactical officer said quietly. The human strategy. No formal battles, no announcements, no declarations. Just target, strike, disappear. Again and again and again. The thing that was missing. Why aren't they challenging us? A Dominion commander demanded. Why no honor engagement? No answer came, because humans didn't fight wars for honor. They fought to end them. The second message. Hale appeared again, not on request, not invited. You should have left, Hale said. Xerath didn't respond. The final warning is gone. There won't be another warning, Hale continued. You had that chance. Behind him, massive fleet formations were visible now, ships stretching into the distance, layer upon layer. We're not going to negotiate, Hale said. We're not going to intimidate you. A pause. We're going to dismantle your ability to fight. The line that ended it. And we're going to do it fast. The feeling spreads. Across the Dominion, for the first time in its 9,000-year history, fear appeared. Not in civilians, not in conquered species, in soldiers. The report that broke the room. Admiral, we're losing control of outer sectors. How fast? Faster than we can respond. The final image. Xerath looked at Earth one last time. The same blue planet, still turning, still peaceful. But now, he understood. It wasn't peaceful because it was weak. It was peaceful because it was choosing to be.
The last battle never came. Admiral Xerath prepared for a final stand. What remained of the Dominion fleet gathered near their capital system, thousands of ships, all that was left of a 9,000-year empire. They formed ranks, perfect formations, traditional war structures, honor lines, battle geometry refined over millennia. And they waited. What arrived instead? Human ships didn't arrive in formation. They didn't announce themselves. They didn't request engagement. They appeared everywhere, above, below, behind, inside sensor range before alarms could even trigger. Contact, multiple vectors, shields up. Where did they? Too late. The difference. Dominion fleets fought like a ceremony, structured, predictable, honorable. Humans fought like a force of nature. They didn't meet the enemy, they surrounded it. They didn't announce attacks, they executed them. They didn't aim to win battles, they aimed to end wars. The collapse. Within minutes, Dominion formations broke. Within hours, entire wings vanished. Within a day, command structure collapsed. Admiral Xerath watched it happen in real time. Every screen, another loss, another fleet gone, another system falling. They're inside our coordination grid. They're predicting our moves. The officer stopped, because there was no word for it. The truth. They've already fought this war, Xerath whispered. The last order. He closed his eyes for a moment, then spoke. Signal surrender. Silence. No one argued. No one resisted. because everyone already knew. The end of an empire. Across Dominion space, weapons powered down, ships went dark, signals of surrender echoed across the stars. A 9,000-year empire ended in less than a year. Earth, the response. The human fleet surrounded the Dominion capital, thousands of ships, enough firepower to erase the planet. The Dominion High Council waited, 12 rulers, now silent, powerless. "Incoming human vessel," a guard whispered. The same human. A single ship landed. No weapons, no escort, no army. The doors opened, and she stepped out. Captain Elena Voss. Same uniform, same calm expression, same coffee in her hand. The final meeting. She walked into the council chamber. No fear, no hesitation. "You've come to accept our surrender," the High Sovereign said quietly. Elena shook her head. "No." Silence. "No?" he repeated. "We don't want your surrender," she said. Confusion. "You defeated us," Xerath said. "You destroyed our fleets. You could take everything." "Yes," Elena said. "Then why not?" The truth. Elena looked around the chamber, at the rulers, at the empire, at the history written in conquest. Then she spoke. "Because we've done that before." Silence deepened. "For 10,000 years," she continued, "we fought, we conquered, we destroyed." She took a slow breath, "and we almost didn't survive it." The fear they never understood. "We're not peaceful because we're weak. We're peaceful because we're dangerous," Elena said. She stepped closer. "And we know it." The offer. She placed a data pad on the floor between them. "This is a proposal, a coalition. No conquest, no empires, equal species." The High Sovereign stared at it. "You're offering us equality?" "Yes." "After everything we've done?" "Yes." "Why?" Xerath asked quietly, the same question that had followed him since Earth. "Why?" Elena looked at him, not as an enemy, not as prey, but as something else. "Because if we don't stop now," a pause, "we'll remember how much we're capable of." The final line. "And if that happens," her voice dropped, "we won't stop next time." The choice. The chamber was silent, long, heavy. Then, slowly, the High Sovereign stood. "We accept." 10 years later, the galaxy looked different. No Dominion, no conquest fleets, no fear-driven empires. Instead, a coalition, hundreds of species working together. At the center of it, humanity. Not rulers, not conquerors, guardians. Full circle. In a bright new council chamber, a new species appeared on screen. Aggressive, arrogant, threatening. "We demand your submission." Before they could finish, 2 figures started laughing. Elena Voss, and beside her, former Ambassador Threx. He shook his head slowly. "They remind me of us," he said. Elena smiled. "Yeah." Then she leaned forward. "Let's try this again." The last message. "Hi," she said. "Before you do something you'll regret." A pause. "You might want to listen." Final line. Closing narration. In a galaxy that feared strength, humanity proved something different. The most dangerous species is not the one that seeks war. It's the one that learned how to win it and chose peace anyway.